Next thing I know, it's over, and I was genuinely shocked. Like, I was literally shocked at how... But if we're going to talk about Trigun Stampede, and we will, I promise, I'm going to have to back up just a little bit here, and we're going to have to talk about Trigun in general a little bit. Trigun is one of my favorite pieces of media ever. And I don't mean favorite manga or favorite TV shows. I mean, if you take media as a whole and lump it all together, as in, movies, TV shows, anime, manga, books, I mean, just put it all together in a big pile, Trigun would be near the top for me. It is that near and dear to my heart, I guess you could say. It transcends anime for me into just it's that good. So needless to say, when I saw a trailer for this, I was not excited. Also, in the year 2000, I think that's at least around the time that this came out, I was 16. So I was like target demographic for this, like hardcore. And speaking of that trailer, I watched that trailer and it is awful. And it makes this anime, this new version of it, look terrible. If those trailers were anything to go on, this is going to be the biggest pile of garbage ever made. I mean, shamefully bad trailers. And then moving on into this channel, I get started on this like manga journey thing. And I started it with Berserk because that was an old anime that I had watched that I had really enjoyed. So I started with that manga. That then turned out to be wonderful and I absolutely love it. So the very next manga that I wanted to read, like immediately, as soon as Berserk was good, I immediately wanted to read Trigun. Well... Trigun apparently is out of print and has been so for a long time. So reading the manga of Trigun is just not an option. It'd be nice if they still made it, but they don't. So then I ended up, going down this little rabbit hole here of Blam and Dorohedoro and everything else that I've been reading, which is fine. But I still, have this deep yearning to read the manga of Trigun, especially considering that the more I got into manga and researching and reading and everything, I found out that beloved anime that I have in my heart doesn't even follow the manga. Like, it's literally mostly filler. Like, if you go to, like if you look up an episode list of manga episodes to filler episodes, it's shocking when you look at the Trigun one, which just made me want to read it that much more. That I went online and I found a couple of these things that actually weren't like crazy expensive. And this feels like a mistake. Like, because if you're literally going to attempt to find these old out of print mangas, it's a nightmare and they're expensive. So collecting out of print manga feels dangerous to me. I don't like it. There's literally volumes of this stuff that are literally like $150 for one of these. And I'm like, no. I'll probably eventually have to bite the bullet and buy it digitally, which is like my worst nightmare is buying things digitally. I don't know why. I just hate it. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is I really want to know what this does and where it goes and how it's written and everything, because I love that anime so much. And the anime is almost completely invented to be its own thing almost. And that's what I love, to be quite honest. I don't know if I love this story or not because I've never read it. Okay, so like I said, I ended up seeing the trailer for the new one and it just looks so bad. Like, it's embarrassing how bad this show looks by the trailer. Don't watch the trailer. If you haven't seen it, I don't recommend it. If you have seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. So when I was sitting here at my computer and a little notification pops up and it says, oh, Trigun out now. And I'm like, oh, no. And out of just sheer morbid curiosity, I clicked on it and pushed play. And the second it pops on, it actually kind of kicks right in. You're like, oh, that's not the vibe I got from the trailer. And it goes and it goes and it goes. And next thing I know, it's over. And I was genuinely shocked. Like, I was literally shocked at how good the first episode was. I thought it was a good episode. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed it. It is extremely different. I don't know who made that trailer, but whoever made that trailer needs to be fired because the trailer made this look really bad, and it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It is nowhere near as good as the old one. It is literally worse in every possible way compared to the old one. But that doesn't mean it's bad, because the old one was just, gloriously good. And I even went back, as soon as this was over, I went back and I was like, is it really that good? Or am I just remembering this with nostalgia glasses on my brain here? So I went back and I pulled up the old one, and I went and I clicked on play. And as soon as it kicks in, you're like, oh no, this is better, isn't it? Objectively better. The art style is objectively cooler. I'm sorry. The music is so good in the old one. Oh my God. It's just, get out of here. And the next thing I know, I'm like, I think I was 8 or 9 episodes deep into the old Trigun. I just lost myself, which is just how good that one is. So good. So much better. But that being said, I was still super shocked at how good this particular version was. They made a lot of weird decisions, really crazy decisions. The last one stretched out this big mystery. And from my understanding, it wasn't like that in the manga. A lot of the mystery was just told pretty soon after this opens. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't read it. But some of the drawing out of the reveals of who Vash is and what Vash is, I think that took a lot longer in the anime than it did in the manga. Well, this one was what if we just made all of the mysteries that were the old anime, and we just made that a little 90-second prologue at the beginning of this. No mysteries at all. We don't need mystery. Who wants it? That. So that was weird. Let's see, what else? Oh, Millie, a huge fan favorite character. Who needs her? I thought, wow, we'll replace her with an old, bitter, disgruntled alcoholic. He'll be a new fan favorite. I'm not so sure that's going to happen, but I wasn't necessarily super attached to Millie. You make creative decisions in your creation of your show, sure, whatever. I don't feel personally attacked by them cutting out Millie. It just seems like a strange decision. Well, oh my God, one of the best things about the last one was Millie and Meryl being members of the Bernard Daly insurance company, and they're following him around because they have to clear these insurance claims. It was hilarious. It was just ridiculous enough to be just a great addition to the story in general. That's so silly. And now they're reporters following him to get a story. I'm like, that's not as good. I'm sorry. That's a huge step down. And then after they change all of this, they announce this week that for the American dub, they're going to bring back Johnny Jan Bosch as Vash. And this makes perfect sense and makes no sense at all. From a nostalgia perspective, and from the perspective of, there are some people that just can't be recast, and that would be Johnny Jan Bosch. I would argue that he is Vash the Stampede, but at the same time, they have changed this so much and so drastically in every way, from the characters to the characterizations, to the story, to the way the story is told, to the jobs the characters have, to removing characters. There is not one thing that even remotely resembles the old anime, but you're gonna bring back Vash's voice and immediately draw people's attention back to the old one because Vash is still Vash. That is a mind-boggling decision. It makes no sense whatsoever. I will say, nobody could ever do Vash like Johnny Jan Bosch can do Vash, but that is a weird decision to bring him back. I don't get it. And I will say, I will go on record right now saying that there's this argument between everybody, between subs versus dubs. I don't really care. To be quite honest, there are some anime where I absolutely say, no, the sub's better. And then there are some where I say the dub's better. I take it pretty much like anime by anime, and some do this one better and some do that one better. You know, and I'm going to go off record saying that if you're watching Trigun, the old one, and you're not watching it with dubs, you're doing it wrong. If for no other reason, Johnny Jan Bosch, his portrayal of Vash is one of the greatest anime dub performances of all time. But don't bring him back for the new one. It doesn't fit. It doesn't seem like it's going to fit in my mind. Another thing I'm on record saying is old 90s and early 2000s hand-drawn animation, even with all of its jank and all of its weird, slow 14 frames a second and all of its strange, you're going to look at this one picture and watch some lips flapping for the next 2 minutes. All of that aside, I will always like old 90s and early 2000s animation better than this modern CG stuff. That being said, this looked good. Another thing I thought was going to be really, really bad from the trailer. The trailer looks like some really awful CG. And this immediately opens up to very highly polished CG work, but it's also cel shaded or made to look animated, and you'll get still shots of the desert. They're just beautiful. They look like paintings. They don't look like janky CG, which is what the trailer looked like. So I was shocked there. I thought it was going to look bad, and it really doesn't. I must say I was impressed even with that animation. And I'm not a huge fan of that decision in general, but you know what? If it looks good, it looks good, and this looks good. I cannot fault it for the decisions that they made in the animation department. Not a single one. There were a few things that if I really wanted to nitpick with it, I could, but it feels unnecessary, really. And going back to how different it is from the old one, let's go back to the fact that it's not the same as the manga, which is another reason why I really want to read the manga now. Because if I'm going to watch both versions of this anime, then I should probably understand the source material as well, which I admittedly do not. And this one admittedly has openly stated, we're doing our own thing. We're not basing this off of the manga. We are not basing this off of the old anime. They've been upfront from the get-go that they are really trying to just create their own Vash and their own Trigun. And on one hand, I want to say, well, if you're going to make your own thing, then just make your own thing. Why piggyback off of something great? But at the same time, whatever, let them do their thing. I guess I'm not super butthurt about it. And if I'm being super honest, I hope that this does well. I hope that this is wildly successful and makes billions and billions of dollars for Trigun. And then someone over there gets their head on straight and re-releases this manga so I can read it properly. Honestly, I swear that if there was one thing that could happen because of this, I want it to be successful so that I can read this manga and they'll start reprinting it. That would be great. I guess at the end of the day, I was really just surprised at the overall quality, overall everything, overall presentation, just way better than I expected it to be. I don't know if I'll make it. I'm going to try it and hang in there. I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I think I might fall off. I don't know if it has the ability to hold me. I don't know if I care. I just don't know if I don't feel like I'm the target demographic for this show. I don't think they said, you know what, we're going after those old Trigun guys. I doesn't feel like they were targeting me with this show. But I'll probably give it a few more, and I might make it to the end. I might not. We'll just have to wait and see. But I really want to know if you guys have watched it, and I really want to know what you guys thought of it down in the comments. Because I know that my audience kind of spans some younger people who are probably the target demographic for this, and I know I got a few older people that watch that are probably more like me that are like, no, hearkening back to the good old days of OG Trigun. Either way, let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, everybody, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.